Right. Just overall, how would you evaluate performance against Purdue?
You know, it was up and down. You know, I thought we fought through a couple of adverse moments there early. You know, and then weren't able to answer, much like a week ago, not able to answer the bell in opportune times to play complementary football. You know, I thought Purdue did a good job of making competitive plays. You know, in some of those scenarios, where we've made those type of one-on-one matchup plays. You know, we weren't able to make on Saturday, and they were. You know, so you got to give them credit. Thought they came in with a good plan. And then, you know, I was still proud of our guys for, you know, obviously we got hit with the injury bug pretty significantly, and pretty early in that game. So we had to move some guys around that don't, you know, typically play the positions they were playing most of the game. And those guys were able to execute. You know, we didn't have to scrap the game plan or you know, drastically change schematically what we were planning on doing going into the game. Obviously, you know, you tweak some things here and there, but those guys were able to go execute and made some plays, and the plays that they didn't make, they were, you know, they're still competitive plays, and that's all you can ask for as a coach, man, is guys to be mentally prepared going in, and to go compete. You know, that, you know, sometimes you're gonna make those plays, sometimes you're not, and I think, you know, with having a week of practicing at those positions and gaining some experience, you know, throughout the course of the week to clean up some technique things, and you know, they're looking forward to the challenge this week, and they'll be ready to go.
Brett didn't sound after the game too optimistic, I guess, about Taz moving forward, and obviously we know Terrell was. What does that look like? I mean, like, Quan has versatility. We talked a lot about that. What does that look like preparing for Michigan if you guys are down a couple of your guys there?
Yeah, I mean, it would look like it looked on Saturday. You know, like you said, Quan's got some background there. I thought he did a good job during the game and felt comfortable after the game out there. You know, we played Xavier Scott out there as well, and you know, he made some plays. Again, like the plays that he didn't make, he was right there. You know, so that, like, again, it's a true freshman going out there battling in a big game, and you know, he gained a lot of experience and grew up a little bit. Was obviously hurting after the game. But that's just the kind of competitor he is, and you know, the kind of standard we set for ourselves in that locker room. And so, you know, they're looking forward to the challenge, like I said, this week. And they showed up yesterday ready to go to work and really study the film and what happened, and the good and the bad, and what we can do to improve. And you know, then it's flushing it and moving on to a big challenge and playing Michigan in the Big House.
The one call on Devin was a tough call on this side. What do you guys talk with him about after?
Well, just to continue to play his style of defense. You know, that's one thing about Spoon. Like he's never shook. You know, he got those two calls, and you know, he's been pretty stout and pretty detailed in his technique all season. And was, you know, throughout the course of that game. You know, that I think when it gets adverse for him and it gets high pressure for him, it only heightens his awareness on detail and technique and competition. So, you know, he played lights out, you know, throughout the entirety of the game, played physical throughout the entirety of the game, and didn't switch up, you know, his technique or his aggressiveness, you know, as a result of those two calls. So, you know, he's a vet, he's a pro, he's just fine.
Penalties as a whole were higher Saturday
Huge.
than all years.
Yeah.
How do you strike the balance between being mindful of that, but also, you know, losing that edge that you guys have played with it?
Yeah, you know, the penalties that kill you are the non-competitive penalties, right? The pre-snap or post-snap penalties. You know, like the late hit out of bounds, like that was crucial. It was a crucial moment in the game, and you know, those things can happen, and so we got to look at ourselves in the mirror and own up to those, and we have. It's been discussed, and you know, those type of penalties you can't allow, can't have, because they come back to bite you. And I think, you know, all but one of the drives all but one of the scoring drives in the game Saturday, you know, had penalties as a result, of extending drives. So that's something we got to clean up for sure. You still want to maintain, like you said, being aggressive and playing your style of ball, but you got to be smart and when you're doing so. And like I said, the pre and post snap penalties are the ones you got to avoid.
Michigan seems to especially dominate in the second half on the ground. How do you approach that strong of an offensive attack, but particularly a rushing attack?
Yeah, I mean, like we were looking at the stats today, and I think maybe it was Iowa held them to their season low at like 160-something yards on the ground, and we all know what type of defense they play, and it's because they got a really good scheme, and they got really good players. I mean, I think they're number 3 or 4 in the country for a reason. Up front, they're big, they're physical, they play really, really well together. Very athletic. They do a good job of mixing in zone and gap schemes to both 3 and 4 down fronts. They use their personnel very creatively. Especially out of 12 personnel, they give you a bunch of different pictures, different surface areas, and the running back is as talented as there is in college football. I think both of them, obviously Crum and number 7, man, those guys do a good job of being patient and waiting for their blocks to develop. Offensive line does a good job of climbing to the second level and getting their hands on linebackers and DBs. And then if there's a guy in the hole that's unaccounted for, those backs are talented enough to make you miss. And if you miss, they're fast enough to take it a distance. So I got to do a great job of team football and pursuing to the rock and playing physical and being gap sound and assignment sound, which we've done for the better part of this season. So, like I said, our guys are looking forward to the challenge and looking forward to getting on the practice field to get our preparation started.
McCarthy is a young quarterback, very talented, obviously. What challenges does he provide?
Very athletic. He can extend plays with his legs. They will use him at times in the run game. Not a feature there, obviously, because they got really talented backs and a really, really good offensive line. He throws a nice tight spiral, easy catchable ball. He's accurate, and they do a good job of asking him to do things within the framework of what he's comfortable with right now. Doesn't mean he won't stretch you vertically, because he will. They'll take advantage of some of their play action game and advantageous spots, on the field and depending on down the distance. But he's a good quarterback. He's really good. He's talented. I know he's young, but doesn't really put the ball in jeopardy. Doesn't make a ton of mistakes. Manages the game very well.
Is there anything you need from the defensive line that was happening during the winning streak that hasn't in the last couple of weeks?
No, I mean, I think they played well on Saturday. We weren't as gap sound the prior week, and some of those mistakes were corrected. Like I said, on Saturday, they just got to continue to be who they are and prepare the way they prepare. I've never questioned, our want to, our physicality, or our desire to prepare the right way. We just got to go out and execute it at a consistent basis. There were stretches in that game where it looked like it has for the better part of the season, and then there were stretches where we made some mistakes, and that's football. You got to live and learn and grow from it. One thing I do appreciate about this game that I think is the biggest correlation with just life in general is like you are guaranteed to hit adversity, right? And what I love about adversity is it introduces yourself to yourself. You find out what you're made of, and in a team setting, you find out what your locker room is made of, and who you can lean on. And we got a bunch of guys that are leaning on each other right now that have not had their confidence shaken or wavered, and are hungry to go out and continue to compete. This is a competitive game, and the ball is not always going to go your way. The ebbs and flows in the game aren't always going to go your way, and it's how you respond to it. And I like the way our guys have responded thus far.
Ryan, on the J.J. McCarthy deal, like 2 interceptions this year, it doesn't seem like they ask him to put the ball in high turnover areas. Are you guys kind of looking for the first maybe crack at Michigan in the sense of, you just talked about adversity, and is there a feel that maybe they haven't seen it yet throughout this year?
You know, I don't know if they haven't. You know, I'm not in the locker room, right?
Right.
Obviously, you look at the scores in the games, and they've done a really good job this season. You know, I think we just have to go play our game. You know, we are unique to this. Our style of play defensively is unique to this conference. Really, it's unique to college football, and you know, our good players got to be good players on Saturday, and you know, luckily we got a lot of them. And we got a lot of them at every different level. You know, guys just got to do their job at a consistent basis and go put the ball down, go play, and have fun while we're doing so. And you know, consistently doing it together for 4 quarters. We can't just have stretches where we're really good or plays where we're really good. It's got to be, you know, every play's got to have its own lifespan, and you got to hit the reset button as soon as that whistle's blown and the ball snapped.
Understanding offenses have a lot to do with it, but what do you think has changed? Maybe you guys were doing it for 4 quarters for that 6-game streak. Is there anything you can pinpoint as to what maybe has led to some more ending inconsistencies and putting it all together?
You know, I think it's a combination of a bunch of different things. Or, you know, there's a lot of things that have happened. Whether it's, you know, different guys being thrust into the lineup, whether it's you know, momentum swings within the course of a game. You know, opponents making competitive plays. Like I said, you know, it is hard to maintain, you know, that level of play throughout the entirety of the season when you have a bunch of different, you know, circumstances that you can't control. What we can control, though, is our effort, our mental makeup, and being assignment sound. And I think when we do those things, you know, we are still the same defense that we've been all season. You know, you see that doesn't matter who's in the lineup. If you do those things, then you're capable of playing at that elite level. And so that's what I'm looking forward to, going out there on Saturday and doing just that.
Are there things in your defense that when Seth's not in there that you just feel like you can't do? Or is there an Alec Bryant or somebody else down the line you feel like you
No,
can put in the
I'm
game?
confident. Yeah, I'm confident in everybody we got in the locker room, and everybody that is on the field. Whatever 11 is out there, I got full confidence in them being able to perform and do the things that we're asking them to do from a schematic standpoint. And like I said, they're most of the time those things happen, and we're able to do that. And you know, sometimes they make plays, and that's the nature of the game. It's the nature of competitive sports, period. And you know, as long as you're giving your best effort and preparing the right way and putting your best foot forward and playing it the right way, then you live with the results. Like I said, it's the you know, mental errors, pre and post snap penalties, you know, the unforced errors that we have to eliminate and eradicate completely. You know, we're at a point where we got to play clean, and we got to play assignment sound, and we got to play fast and physical to give us an opportunity to win games.
Coach, have you been in that building before or not? Have you been in Michigan State?
I have
before?
not. No, I
Okay.
have not.
You know, what have you heard about that atmosphere and what it's like?
I've heard it's one of the, you know, if you're a football fan, right, it's one of the more historic venues in college football, and you know, that adds to the excitement about wanting to go play.
This might be one of those things you can only know after it happens, but did you have a feeling like you could maybe weather those injuries hitting much more frequently than they had all year and only have to make a few tweaks? And did you anticipate that could be something you could do? Or
Yeah, I mean, we because of how thin we had just got from you know, a week ago after the Michigan State game, you know, we did practice some guys in some different spots just in case, and the just in case happened, you know. So it you know, we got a good staff. You know, Coach B is one of the best in the business at foreshadowing and making sure you got all your bases covered. You know, it's always what if or what could happen. You know, are you prepared for that? And because of the way our program is structured, we were able to get some guys some reps at some spots that they don't typically play in the just-in-case scenarios. And you know, I'll be damned if the just-in-case didn't happen and it happened early. So was happy that we were able to do that.
Ryan, apologies, I'm gonna put you on the spot
No,
here.
you're good.
Barry signed a contract extension. Is that something you'd be interested in?
You know, I love this place. I really do. You know, this place has been awesome to me and my family. I think that you can have sustained success here. I think that the leadership here is second to none. I think the alignment with the athletic director and the head coach is exactly what you need in order to have a successful program, you know, athletically, and their vision is the same. And I think when you have alignment, that's what allows you to have success. It's you know, one of the best conferences in all of sports, in an area where you can recruit and you have fertile recruiting grounds all around you. And I love those guys in the locker room. So, you know, obviously all those things, you know, point to wanting to be here long term. And, you know, so that's what I'll say about that. Yeah, appreciate it. Good?
Yeah.